Kamala Harris didn't hold back. In a fiery Fox News interview, she launched a scathing critique of Donald Trump. Her words were sharp, her tone unwavering. She called him unfit to serve. She labeled him a danger to American democracy. Harris pointed to Trump's own words as evidence. His threats to use the military against his own citizens, his incitement of chaos during the election, his attacks on the very foundation of their democracy. This was not just political rhetoric. This was a direct assault on their nation's core values. The vice president's words were a calculated escalation. Trump's rhetoric had become increasingly alarming. He spoke of internal enemies and threatened to unleash the military on his political opponents. This was a dangerous game, a game that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their society. Harris refused to let these threats go unanswered. She chose to confront Trump head-on, and she did it on his own turf, Fox News. This was a bold move, a strategic decision to take the fight directly to the network that had become synonymous with Trumpism. Appearing on Fox News was a calculated risk. The network was known for its partisan leanings and its often hostile treatment of Democrats. But Harris understood the importance of reaching beyond the echo chamber. Fox News boasted a massive audience, millions of Americans who relied on the network for their news. This was an opportunity to present a counter-narrative, to challenge the misinformation and propaganda that had become all too common. Harris went on the offensive, directly addressing the concerns of Fox News viewers. She spoke about the economy, about immigration, about the issues that mattered most to everyday Americans. She didn't shy away from tough questions. She met them head-on, armed with facts and a clear vision for the future. This was not about winning over die-hard Trump supporters. This was about reaching out to persuadable voters, the Americans who were tired of the chaos and division. It was a gamble, but a necessary one. The future of their democracy depended on it. While Harris stood firmly beside President Biden, she also made it clear that she was her own person. She had her own vision for the country, her own priorities, her own leadership style. This was not simply a continuation of the Biden administration. This was something new, something bold, something different. She spoke passionately about her plans to address the housing crisis, to support small businesses, to invest in education and healthcare. She outlined her vision for a more just and equitable society, a society where everyone had the opportunity to succeed. Harris understood the need to connect with voters on a personal level. She shared her own story, her experiences as a woman, as a person of color, as someone who had faced challenges and overcome adversity. She spoke with empathy and understanding, qualities that had been sorely lacking in the previous administration. This was not just about policy. It was about leadership. It was about restoring trust in government, about bringing people together, about healing the divisions that had plagued the nation for far too long. Section 4, Immigration Clash. Harris confronts a volatile issue. Immigration was a flashpoint in the interview. Fox News, known for its hardline stance on the issue, pressed Harris on border security and the Biden administration's handling of undocumented immigrants. The questions were pointed, designed to elicit a defensive response. Harris didn't back down. She defended the administration's record, highlighting the complexities of the issue and the need for comprehensive reform. She spoke about the importance of addressing the root causes of migration, the poverty, violence, and instability that drove people to flee their homes. She also challenged the hypocrisy of Republicans who demonized immigrants while benefiting from their labor. She pointed to the contributions of immigrants to the economy, to the culture, to the very fabric of American society. This was not just about politics. This was about human beings, families fleeing for their lives, children seeking a better future. Harris refused to dehumanize them, to reduce them to statistics or political pawns. Section 5. A History of Hostility, Navigating the Fox News Landscape. The interview was tense, at times confrontational. This was to be expected. The relationship between the Biden administration and Fox News had been strained from the start. The network had been a relentless critic of the president and his policies, often resorting to misleading information and outright falsehoods. Harris went into the interview with her eyes wide open. She knew she wouldn't receive a fair shake, but she was determined to challenge the network's narratives, to present an alternative viewpoint to its viewers. This was a high-stakes game of political chess. Every word, every gesture, every facial expression would be scrutinized. Harris had to be on her guard, ready to deflect attacks and counter misinformation. This was not just an interview. This was a battle for the hearts and minds of the American people. Section 6. A Moment of Empathy, Recognizing the Human Cost of Immigration. Despite the heated exchanges, there was a moment of genuine human connection. Harris, when asked about the families of victims of crimes committed by undocumented immigrants, responded with compassion and empathy. She acknowledged their pain, their loss, their grief. This was not a talking point. This was a human being acknowledging the suffering of other human beings. In that moment, the political differences faded away. Harris understood that the immigration debate was not just about policy. It was about people, real people with real lives, hopes, and dreams. It was about families torn apart, children separated from their parents, lives lost in pursuit of a better future. This was a reminder that even in the midst of heated political battles, it was essential to never lose sight of our shared humanity.